Okay, so today I'm going to be reviewing this, the 2026 Aston Martin Vantage Roadster. And well, this right here is Aston Martin's newest reinterpretation of the iconic Vantage nameplate, and in today's video I'm going to tell you guys everything you need to know about this car, from the specs, the design of the interior and the exterior, and much, much more. So let's go. And first thing first, we need to talk about the specs, because this car here is powered by a completely insane 4.0 liter twin turbocharged V8 that's actually hand built, which not a lot of cars are hand built these days, but this one has a hand built engine, which is quite bonkers. And well, that engine pumps out 656 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque. And well, truthfully, those specs are bonkers, because this is the most powerful Aston Martin Vantage in, well, history. So that alone is insane. But anyways, all that power goes through a 8-speed ZF automatic transmission via the rear wheels only to help this car rocket to 0-60 in only 3.4 seconds. That's for the Cabrio. The regular coupe has 0-60 in about 3.1 seconds. Aston Martin claims 3.2, but most likely it's about 3.1, 3.0 time. But anyways, 3.4 seconds 0-60, which is mind-boggling fast. And well, the top speed is even crazier, to tell the truth, because the top speed of this car is over 202 miles an hour. Aston Martin, you guys have engineered this thing insanely. And anyways, now you guys are probably wondering, well, all that power doesn't really matter if you don't have a fast quarter-mile time. And well, let me tell you guys what the quarter-mile time is right now, because the quarter-mile time of this car right here is 11.1 seconds. It's exactly as fast as the Porsche 911 Spirit 70, but it has the exact same quarter mile, but it's going 11.1 seconds at over 133 miles an hour. So this thing is crazy. And so now you guys are probably wondering, well, yeah, those specs are crazy. 0-60, top speed, the power, even though this is not supposed to be the top trim Aston Martin, this is just supposed to be, as you say, a baby Aston Martin Vanquish. But this one now has a V8, so it's not as much of a baby as it was before. But now you guys are probably wondering, what's one, the MPG, two, the price, and you guys probably don't even know what the range is. But anyways, first thing first, I need to tell you guys the MPG, because this car's MPG is 15 city, 22 highway, and around 18, 19 combined. So MPG is one less than a regular 911 Carrera, but still, MPG is seriously good on a car that's so fast. I mean, 202 miles an hour, but you still have a great MPG in range. That's pretty bonkers, to tell the truth. And so now you guys are probably wondering, well, okay, that MPG is really good, actually, for such a fast car. What is the range of this car? Because that's what MPG pretty much equals, because if you don't have a good MPG, you're not going to have a good range. If you have a good MPG, you're going to have a good range. And, well, the range of this car is 371 miles of range, which is actually really, really good, because also usually cabriolets have, I guess you would say, slightly worse range compared to the coupe counterparts, but this actually has seriously good range and MPG, which is actually quite a shocker. But anyways, now you guys are probably wondering, okay, so pretty much I know everything spec-wise about this car. What else do I need to know? Well, there's one main thing that you guys might be missing, which is, of course, the price. And well, I can't tell you guys that just yet, so stay tuned. I'll tell you guys that just in a couple minutes. But first thing first, we have to talk about the history of this car, because, well, it all started in 1950 to 1971. Well, back then, the Aston Martin Vantage, it wasn't even like a model like it is today, but it was actually just like a trim. Like, take, for example, now you have the Aston Martin Vantage S, which I actually might be reviewing soon. Well, the Aston Martin Vantage, the S, the letter S, that's added on to make it more, like, it's a more sporty name, if that makes sense. It means that it signifies that it's more powerful and faster and stuff like that. And, well, Vantage was pretty much that exact thing, because, well, originally in 1950, with the Aston Martin DB2, which was one of the more early Aston Martin supercars, I guess you could say, well, that name was added on to the higher It was a 2.6 liter engine with a higher compression rate, so it was more powerful and faster. And well, they added the Vantage name to signify, just like the Vantage has the S trim now, the DB2 had the Vantage trim then. And that's before it was even a real model. And well, that continued on through the DB4, the DB5, and the DB6, all the way up to 1971, when Aston Martin decided, what's the point of just having the trim being Vantage and not creating a completely owned car called the Aston Martin Vantage? And well, that's exactly what they did. And so then, from 1972 to 1990, Aston Martin brought out the brand new Vantage model. And well, in 1972, when they first revealed the brand new Vantage series, that was pretty much, it was kind of like a DBS. It actually had the same V6 as a DBS, but it was a lower trim version of the DBS that they called the Vantage. But that wasn't what made it so iconic. It was in 1977 when Aston Martin decided, oh, why don't we go and install let's say a V8 in the Aston Martin Vantage? And well, they did, and what came out was dubbed the first British supercar. And well, at the time, it was. It had 4 seats, it was insanely powerful, and the top speed was a mind-boggling 170 miles an hour. For the 1970s, 1977 to be precise, that was completely insane. And then from 1993 to 2002, Aston Martin pretty much reinvented the Vantage. Most of you guys probably want to know what the Aston Martin Vantage is, but they used the chassis of the 2-door Aston Martin Vantage and built the Aston Martin Vantage body onto it. And originally it had a 5.3 liter V8 with 2 superchargers. Pretty insane, right? And altogether, they pumped out 550 horsepower and about 500-ish pound-feet of torque. But then, the craziest iteration of the Aston Martin Vantage, probably ever, except for the new Aston Martin Vantage, was the ultimate, the Aston Martin Vantage V600 Le Mans. And you guys could probably guess, that was quite crazy. And let me tell you guys, yes it was, because that thing pumped out over 600 horsepower and 600 pound-feet of torque. So only 56 horsepower behind this thing, this brand new beast, but that was all the way from the 1990s. So that is even more crazy. And so now, under actually Ford ownership, surprisingly enough, Aston Martin decided to bring back in 2005 the Vantage, and that was quite crazy, because from 2005 to 2018, the Aston Martin Vantage was the most successful Aston Martin in history. So they made a whole bunch of money on that car, but mainly because, well, one reason. Aston Martin decided in 2009, why don't we take the nice little Vantage and shoehorn a humongous 6.0 liter V12 into the engine bay? And that's exactly what they did, and so that's why the Aston Martin Vantage is pretty iconic, because Aston Martin pretty much went all out on a lot of occasions with this wild car. But then, from 2019 to the present, Aston Martin pretty much updated the Vantage completely, and well, that was pretty wild. It used a brand new, it was called a bonded aluminum chassis, which was lighter and stronger, and allowed the car to be more agile and fast. But anyways, then Aston Martin decided, why don't we use a Mercedes AMG sourced engine that's actually hand built in Germany and put it inside this car? And well, that's exactly what they did. And that's why this car right here has over 656 horsepower. So I pretty much told you guys everything you need to know about this car. Now let me tell you guys just one more thing before we talk about this wild design. And well, that thing is the price, because this car right here starts at over $194,000, which is seriously expensive. You could either buy this, or you could buy a Mercedes AMG GT, or you could buy a Porsche 911 Carrera 4 GTS, which I've actually reviewed, and you could check that out in the link above me. But anyways, then if you option this really nice, the best paint, the best interior, and carbon ceramic brakes and everything, well, it could easily exceed $290,000, which is expensive. And well, this car is actually $286,000. So this is probably one of the most expensive Aston Martin Vantage cabrios in the world. So in today's video, I could show you guys what the most expensive Vantage looks like, and well, that's definitely going to be cool. So I've told you guys everything you know about this car, from the specs, the history, and much, much more. Now let's hop inside and check out the interior and see if it's just as cool. So let's go. First thing first, I want to talk about the front of this car, because most of you guys probably won't even notice, because you guys probably don't even know what the first generation of Aston Martin Vantage looks like. But this is actually completely revamped compared to the 2021 generation. And well, first, they revamped these headlights. They made them bigger, more aggressive looking, and you have this really, really nice, almost like diamond type of pattern here. And there's nice little, it's almost like, whoa, check this out. It almost looks like the glass is cut. If you look over it, there's like these little cuts in it, and actually light reflects off of it in like a rainbow color, which is really interesting. And then you also have your daytime running lights coming across here. You have your two nighttime running lights there as well, which also look really nice. And then you come here and you have your really nice Aston Martin badge. This one is actually black. It's pretty rare to see black ones. Most of them are like silver with the green center, but it's really cool how you have that black badge right there. And also you have this nice carbon fiber trim coming across the bottom here. And this humongous, I guess you could say, air intake slash grill, actually pretty much every single Aston Martin has it. It's interesting, but I guess this is like Aston Martin's design language, because pretty much all Aston Martins have this interesting grille. And actually, it almost looks like on the side, if you look directly from the front here, it almost looks like the wings of the Aston Martin badge right there. And literally every single Aston Martin, like every single one, has it since the, I guess you could say, like mid-2000s. So that's also a nice little thing. And actually, also you have a sensor box right here. You have a nice little camera there. And one thing about Aston Martin that I've noticed is that they're really, like, how do you say, into like the really small details. They put a lot of attention into those small details. And then also you look at this really nice hood here. You have these two air outtakes that are actually, pretty much every Aston Martin has like a different type, but usually they have like little carbon fiber pieces sticking out. But I'm a huge fan of these, like, I guess you say, air outtakes for the engine in these Aston Martins, because that looks really, really nice. Then you hop down here and you have Aston Martin badging in this beautiful like silver type of color, silver platinum color, and this beautiful carbon fiber trim here. And actually there's little air outtakes here and here. This one's extremely tiny, but you have a good sized air outtake there. And the reason why is actually because, okay, let's say that your rims are heating up, or you're going on the Nürburgring, for example. I don't know who drives this on the Nürburgring, but as an example, the air flows out of here. As you can see, there's an air intake here, and it flows through here and straight out of here. So that is also really, really nice. And actually, speaking of rims, let's talk a little bit about these rims, because I really like this neon green trim on the brakes. And it's actually called AMR green. For those who don't know, it means Aston Martin Racing, because as you can say, Aston Martin's like signature color is green, and all Aston Martin race cars have at least a hint of this really, really nice hue. And then also you have this really, really nice rim here. I like how some of them are like connected in like a V shape, but then others are just flat. So that is also really, really cool. Then you come to the side of this car, and you have this really nice, and this is actually seriously nice, this mirror. It doesn't have too much of like a ledge, so it's just a full mirror, but it's really, really cool. It's full carbon fiber, and it almost looks like it melts straight out of the bodywork of this car. Look at that. It doesn't seem like it's connected, just like melts out of the bodywork, which is definitely really, really unique. And then you hop down here, and I also really like this carbon fiber trim. Another thing I gotta say about Aston Martin is that they pay a lot of attention to their carbon fiber. A lot of their cars are covered in a lot of carbon fiber, and that is really, really nice. All this nice smooth carbon fiber there. And then you just hop up here, and you can see into that nice interior. We'll be checking that out in a second, but that is also really, really nice. And you come to the back of this car, and you can just see how wide this thing is from this back view, because if you look straight from right here, like, this thing is so wide. Probably one of the widest cars I've seen, like, compared to, I guess you could say, Porsche 911 Carrera, but this thing is seriously wide. And that's another thing I really, really like about this car. You also have this nice strip light coming all the way across there, and actually, interestingly enough, if you come over here, you can actually see that the way the light is, like the way the light's cut or the glass on it, it's almost shaped like the outsides of the Aston Martin wing, which is a nice little hint to the heritage, so that's also quite cool. Then you also have this nice black Aston Martin lettering here. You have a nice Aston Martin badge right next to it as well, and I'm actually a huge fan of this car. The interior and the exterior are black, but then you have all this nice AMR green trim, which definitely I'm a huge fan of. And then you hop down here, and this is probably one of the most aggressive things about Aston Martins, is these exhausts and these rears. Because look at these exhausts. Like, most exhausts are just straight like this, but these are aggressive as heck. So aggressive looking, and you have this nice alloy trim covering them, and then you have your reflector light there as well. You have really nice carbon fiber trim coming across the rear diffuser of this car, and that's one thing also I forgot to mention. The rear diffusers on Aston Martins are always crazy. I guess they want the most downforce as possible, but check this out. The way it's crafted is just so cool, and then you have all these tiny little holes here for air outtakes from the brakes, and you have this little stopping light, actually like in F1 cars, and then you have this nice little rear backup camera there. The only thing I'm not the biggest fan of is these. I don't know why they're so big, but you have these big like chunks right there. So that's probably the only thing I could say that I'm not a huge fan of about this car. The rest of this car is so nice. And this is the cabriolet version, as you guys have probably seen. And you could just see how small this car is. Well, not even small, but low, because just look at this. The top of the windshield just goes to here. That is super duper low. And actually, for anyone who's wondering what this thing right here is for, well, that is in case there's a rollover or something like that. It protects the occupants from the seats getting crushed. And then also back here you have a little nice window there as well, which I believe you could roll up and down depending on if you want breeze from the back of the window. So that is also really, really nice. Okay, so I think we've checked out pretty much all of this wild exterior. Now let's hop inside and see if the interior is just as nice. So let's open this door up. It's really interesting how these door handles work as well, but okay, so now we're inside the 2026 Aston Martin Vantage Cabrio. Now let's check out the inside and see if it's just as cool. And first thing first, I want to talk about this, the really, really cool little AC. Lift it up and down, and you could turn it back and forth, which is also really, really nice. Then you also have this nice little door handle here, which is actually kind of reminiscent of the Porsche 911, interestingly enough, but still, that's really, really cool. And actually, some really cool hints I've noticed throughout this car, but one of the coolest is actually this. The speakers are actually custom designed so that, look, they look like the outside wings of the Aston Martin badge, which is really, really cool. And you actually have Bowers and Wilkins speakers, which are really, really nice and sound definitely really good. I wish I could show you guys that, but sadly, I would not be able to post a video because YouTube bans any music. But anyways, then you also have the windows here. Look at how tiny these windows are. These windows are so tiny. This is my hand against the window. So those windows are so tiny, but they're pretty quiet actually. And you have a nice little storage area down here. Your handle actually to close the door is here. I was actually grabbing up here, but I guess it's right here. This is in the storage area, but a nice little handle. And then you also could look over here, and you have a nice storage area for maybe a couple water bottles and some granola bars or something like that. So that's also quite nice. Then here, this is actually another really cool thing, because let's say someone gets in your car and you're like, oh, where's the glove box? Well, if they could see fine, then they'll most likely notice that there's a button here, but they probably won't know that, well, that's for the glove box. You don't have a handle, you have this button here. And not the greatest amount of space, truthfully. You have a little book that is about your Aston Martin, most likely, nicely wrapped. And let's put that back in there, but you don't have the greatest amount of space, truthfully, but it is a cool little thing just to press that button and open it up. So that's nice and cool. Then you also have your nice little like drill here. I guess it's like a bolt holding the trim together or something. That's really cool. It makes it look more like sporty or racy, I guess you could say. So that's also really, really nice. Then you also have this really nice carbon fiber trim coming all the way across the car, which also I'm a really huge fan of. I really love how, like, Aston Martin, please email me and tell me how do you guys do this, because I'm seriously wondering, how do you guys form this carbon fiber in such like to make it so smooth and stuff. Like, I've never seen any other car company do that. It's just wild. And wow, this carbon fiber is so nice. And you have this nice, Bentley would call it piano black trim, or I guess Rolls-Royce as well. So that is also really, really nice. Then you also have this nice trim here as well, nice leather trim across here, and you also have this nice leather trim here as well. And actually, your speakers look quite interesting, to tell the truth. Look at their speakers. It's actually really cool the way they're set up. You have that one center speaker that goes in both directions, so both the driver and passenger can hear it. And each of you guys have your own separate little speaker. So that is also really, really nice. I'm a huge fan of that as well, so that's quite cool. Then you could pull this down, and you have, oh look, a little sun blocker here, but it's actually interesting that this is completely black Alcantara, which I'm a huge fan of. But the reason why I'm saying it's interesting is because at first you don't even know where the handle is, but if you look close, you can see this. Yeah, it's easier to see. From farther away, it's almost impossible to see, even for the human eye. But the closer you look, the easier it is. And you open that up, and you have this beautiful, luxurious-looking mirror here. So that is also really, really nice. Then you close it up, and it even has, whoa, those are real metal hinges. So it even has real metal hinges. Aston Martin, you guys are doing like great. Wow, that is also really, really cool. Then you have this, oh, nice, what was it, Bentley, I think, style. You could just touch them, and they turn it on and off. Yeah, strange. I should have to press them kind of hard, yeah. No? Okay. Interesting, to say the least, but anyways, then you also have the sideless mirrors, which are also really, really nice. I'm a huge fan of those as well, and yeah, they don't switch, but there's some sideless mirrors. I'm actually a huge fan of those type. There are certain sideless mirrors that actually you could switch them from camera mode to like a screen pretty much to the mirror, which is also really, really cool. And then you have your main latch, I guess, for your roof there as well. So that is also really, really cool. You also have these other little latches there as well. And then, oh, you can press that and you can go into, what is that? As you go into mechanic mode or fixing mode, that's also really, really cool. And that actually looks like the Aston Martin DB22. Yeah, I think that is. It was a special homage, or maybe it was a DBR22, but anyways, whatever it was a special speedster homage to like their old school Aston Martin race cars, which is also really, really cool. And yeah, then also actually foot room is really good. Like, literally, I'm laying back and my legs are all the way straight, and so that definitely means there is a lot of nice foot room there. And actually, I just want to throw this into the video, but actually, I was getting in this car and I noticed this. It kind of looks like there's an Aston Martin Valhalla like parked right behind me, which is really funny. And actually, I might be doing a review on one of those pretty soon. That's a hint, but within the next few months, I might be reviewing some. So wait for that. But anyways, now let's talk about the seats, because we haven't really talked about the seats yet. But I love this AMR green stitching here. This is called, what is it called? It's called filling, like, you know, cake filling, but they call this filling here. This strips like this, and then this is the actual stitching. So that's really nice. And you have your beautiful stitched Aston Martin badging there, which is also really, really cool. And I actually like this trim on the seat. There's like this main strip coming down here, and it's all like pointing upward, almost like in an arrow shape. That's really good. It must be saying check out the link for the time that I reviewed the Aston Martin Vantage. Okay, but anyways, so I guess it was saying check out that other video. But anyways, that is also really cool. Let's try out the seatbelts and see if they're just as cool. And I can assure you they're quite good. They're not the best seatbelts I've ever been in, but still, they're pretty good. They're kind of hard though, but of course, that's because you're going to be going 200 miles an hour, or at least you could reach 200 miles an hour in this bonkers car. So let's pull that back. So yeah, that's also really, really nice. And then I'm going to talk about this area in a second, but I want to leave that in that area for a little bit later in the video, because first I want to talk about some more interesting facts, which is this. Your area that you usually would store, let's say, your phone or your wallet or something, you could probably fit like you could probably fit a couple iPads, a couple iPhones, or maybe an iPad mini in there, and you have two USB-C charging ports there as well, which is also quite nice. And you have a power outlet, 12 volt or 10A, so that is also nice. And you have a little storage area right here. Interesting, I have this little strap here, but that is also really, really cool. And then, actually just noticed this. You have this little thing. Let's see what this is. Secret treasure? No. It's extra storage. Great. Okay, so this is actually really good. I'm serious that this is really nice, because you have all the storage back here. You couldn't fit like a suitcase, but you could probably just throw your clothes back there, or at least fold them up and put them back there, so that'd be nice. And then you have this nice little piece right here that you could maybe store your phone or something like that behind there, or maybe even a tiny little book. I'm not sure what book would be that tiny though, but anyways, let's close that up. And then you also have this little storage area right there, or maybe you could just set down your phone or something there, which is also really, really cool. And actually, I want to show you guys the key for this car, because the key is really nice. You have Aston Martin badging on the side. Sadly, it's covered in this stuff, but you have Aston Martin badging on both sides. You have lock, unlock, and you could also open up your trunk back there. Yeah, that's also really, really cool. And actually, let's talk about a little bit about these cup holders here. You have these nice little cup holders here. Nothing moves, but you have this nice cup holders with white stitching, like Arctic white stitching right there, which is also really, really cool. And so now let's move on to this, the really, really cool part, because I've been wanting to talk about the screen and this area, because I want to see if they're really that good. But first, let's see. You have your transmission here, tiniest transmission gauge I've ever seen. Truthfully, look at how small that is. But anyways, then you have park, you have reverse, neutral, drive. You click it back, and it goes into reverse or neutral or drive. Right now it's in park, but so you can also press this, and it goes into manual mode, where I don't know what kind of manual transmission would be that tiny, but I guess you could shift it like a baby shifter. Interesting. But anyways, then you also have this button here. I don't know why some buttons are missing. Maybe it's for higher trim variants, but you know this. Open top car. Sadly not a Aston Martin, but yeah, this nice little open top car there as well, which is quite interesting. And so yeah, that's pretty cool. Maybe it opens a trunk or something like that, but still, it's really, really cool. Then you have park. You can see your parking camera, parking sensor off. The ABS, I think it is off. And you could also you could just turn off the whole car with that, I guess. And then you also have volume. You could turn up the volume. Wow, this is so nice. It's a little spinning wheel, like a little cog wheel. And if you just fast you spin it, it's where it goes. Wow, okay. So this is really cool. You can turn up the temperature as well. The temperature on this side as well, and also the fan. So that is really, really cool. And then I believe, yeah, you could switch this to go into sport mode or wet mode, or what is it called, like eco mode and stuff like that. A lot of these new cars have that, so that's also really cool. Then you can turn on sport suspension, sport exhaust. What is that? Helping the ice maybe. Oh, that's probably ABS, and this is probably lane assist. So yeah, I guess I got those mixed up. But you could heat or cool your seat. That's heating and that's cooling, and on both sides it's pretty much the same. Cooling on the inside and heating on the outside. So that is also nice. And then you also have sync there. You have a nice little, what is this? Oh yeah, to let air flow throughout the car. You have AC. You have your unlock button there, and then you also have this nice little, what is this? This is the emergency lights if your car breaks down. And then you have, interesting, oh, I guess you lock or unlock your car with those two little buttons. What happens if the electricity's out? Don't ask me. But anyways, and you also have auto. You could heat the windows up, heat the windshields up, so yeah, that's also nice. I guess that one's for heating the windshield up, and then this one is for heating the window. Interesting, but still. That is quite cool. And then you also have your seat settings here. You could actually sit your seat back. Let's see. How back does this thing go? Whoa, okay. So if you're doing a long journey, like let's say Gumball 3000, you could literally comfortably lay back and relax in this thing because these seats are seriously comfy, to tell the truth. Let's put the seat back into its regular position. But anyways, that is also really, really nice. And actually, I just noticed this. You actually have this, a little Toyota Sienna style storage area right here. Interesting. You could get to the other side via here, so you could see my hand on the other side. So yeah, that is also really, really nice. And so now let's talk about the part I've been wanting to see the whole time, which is the screen. And first, I want to talk about this car right here, because you guys probably won't know that actually Aston Martin, I guess you could say, on every single car screen, like let's take for example the Vanquish, or I don't know about the Valkyrie or Valhalla, but I know on like the Vanquish, the DBS 770, the DBX, all those models, they have this like silvery or like alloy type of model here without lights or anything. It's like a concept car type of look right there, which is seriously cool. And actually, instead of sport mode being red, Aston Martin thought outside of the box and decided to make it green, like their AMR green racing program. So that is really cool. Then you have telemetry. You see how much power there is. Whoa. Why did it go up to 900 horsepower if this thing only has 600? Interesting, but still, that is quite bonkers. Then you have battery voltage. You have torque. Whoa, it goes all the way up to 800. That's quite interesting. And then you zoom out there and you have parking as well, and you can see how hot or cool your oil is, your oil temp as they call it. Then you have, oh, assist is off because it's not bought with the vehicle, I guess. Then you have lights. Oh, that's really cool. You also have this, let's see, quartzy lights. Okay, let's see. You could turn them off or on. I don't know what quartzy lights are, but courtesy lights, I meant. You could also change the ambient lighting in this vehicle as well. So let's see. Let's turn it over here. Let's see how quick it switches. Let's turn it all the way up. Okay, so all the way up isn't that strong. Here, I'll tell you how quick it turns. So it takes about 2 seconds. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Yeah, a good 2 seconds. Let's see. Okay, let's do it in AMR Racing Green. Okay. Now it's in AMR Racing Green, so we feel like we're really in a beastly fast Aston Martin, so that is quite nice. Then you have exterior light shut-off time. Oh, timeout, interesting. Then you have vehicle, acoustics lock, automatic door lock, automatically locks all doors over 9 miles an hour, automatic mirror folding, easy entry exit, adjusts driver's seat position for convenient entry and exit. Whoa. So whenever you open the door, okay, let's see, seat and steering wheel. So whenever you get in, let's say the seat is really close to the steering wheel, I guess when you get in, then, or at least open the door, then the seat and steering wheel move back. That is really, really interesting. So yeah, that's really cool. Then you also have easy entry and stuff like that. You have parking. You also have parking, audio fade out during warning tones, warning tone volume, warning tone pitch, visual warnings, front, rear, sides. I guess you have more stuff here. Miscellaneous and tow-away protection, interior motion sensor, all types of cool things. So yeah, you have all that really, really cool things. So that's not working, but actually the screen is quite quick, surprisingly enough. You have FM radio, Sirius XM, AM radio, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all that stuff. And then you also have Bluetooth and pretty much everything you need to know. And then also you have, all that stuff. And you also have these two things. I guess you could plug in and play music as well. And so this is the ultimate test of how quick the screen is. Let's do that now. So we're gonna test. Okay, the screen is actually surprisingly quick. My finger is slightly ahead of it. Okay, let's see really quick. Okay, let's drag it from one side to the other. Yeah, the faster you go, the more draggy, but just at regular speeds, it's actually seriously quick. It's crisp. You go in 3D, you go in 2D, and it shows little see-through 2D buildings, which is also really, really cool. Then you also have layers. You could turn on, let's see, what is this? Satellite layer. Ooh, okay. So it shows everything. Wow, that's really, really cool. Then you can also go here. GPS status, online map version, whatever, NAR, show real-time traffic information. Whoa, you could actually turn that on. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay, so that's all real-time traffic. It's all green right now. Some areas are yellow. Some of the traffic's kind of slow. But overall, oh, this thing is really nice. And you could also connect your phone. You could go to home, which shows climate and position and connected device. And so that is also really, really cool. So I'm a huge fan of that screen, actually. I thought it would be slower than it actually was, but still, it was really, really quick. And then you also have this nice steering wheel here. You have Aston Martin badging right here as well, which is also really, really nice. And you also have different things like call. You have turn the modes on and off. You could, if you press it one way or the other, I guess, or just press on those things, it could actually decide if you want to turn on like a airflow and stuff like that. And you actually have the same type of rolly button for if you want to set a specific speed. Like let's say you're on a road trip and you just want to set 50 miles an hour. You could let go of the brake or let go of the accelerator pedal and just drive just by holding the steering wheel. But then if you wanted to turn it off, you just press your foot lightly on the brake and then it turns it off. But yeah, then you also have that button there that's glowing strangely purplish. Oh, actually, wait. Whoa. Okay, so the camera could only see that. That is so weird. So the camera could see this pink, but the human eye, I actually can't. Like, it looks like a dot there. It looks like a dot there, but for me, I just see a really faint red dot. Like, really, really faint, and I could barely see it. But here, from the camera, you could actually see that really strange pink dot. What the heck is that? I don't know. Pink dot in a 2026 Aston Martin Vantage. So that is also really cool. Then you also have your badge there as well, and this little hole in the middle with this nice trim on the steering wheel. Then you actually could look here, and you have stuff like mileage. You have how fast you're going, but they don't actually say. It shows your oil temp. RPM should be right there. And then this, that's RPM because it has the red line, because that's the red line if you rev it. But this is just the top speed, and then you have how many miles is on the car, how many miles are left. So yeah, that is also really, really cool. Then it also shows how hot or cold it is outside. So yeah, that's a cool little thing. And then actually, this is dual clutch. Listen to this. Oh, beautiful. The beautiful sound of the paddle shifters. I'm a huge fan of that. And you press it up or you press it down, and it puts plus or minus. Okay, so you have to press that one if you want to go down in gears, and press that one if you want to go up in gears. So yeah, that is also really, really cool. And so let me just show you guys a couple more things. You have nice little pedals there as well, and you could control both of the windows via the driver's side, and then also, I guess the car you could turn on. You could open the trunk of the car, and you could open the windows, and you can move the mirrors. So that is also really, really cool. So I think we've checked out pretty much all this wild car. Let me show you guys just two more things. Well, yeah, two more things before we hop out. And one is this really nice glass here, like I mentioned earlier. So when the cabriolet backs open, it doesn't have a window connected to it because it would most likely break. But this, the cabriolet roof just goes right over it, and so you have your window, which is really nice. And then two, I actually like how this nice trim here, those little like holes there, so it looks really cool and futuristic. So yeah, that is also really, really nice. And so I think we've checked out pretty much all of this completely wild car. I'm going to be rating it, so stay tuned till the end of this video. But I think we've checked out all of it. Now let's hop out and near the end of our video. Okay, so I hope you guys like this video. Remember to like and subscribe to Xaaron Views, and see you all next time. And also check out my X and Instagram with the links down below, where I post some of the coolest car news and car photography that I know. So I hope you guys like this video. And actually, let me tell you guys just one last thing: the score, because the score of this car, I would say it's at 8.2. So see you guys next time.